Once upon a time in Begi, there lived a strong and handsome man in his early 40s, known for his charm and respected as a skilled farmer with broad shoulders and a confident stride that made heads turn wherever he went. His farm was one of the most prosperous in Begi, yielding abundant harvests year after year, called Maxi. Maxi was married to Amina, a woman of quiet beauty and unmatched kindness. Amina had been with Mosi through thick and thin, supporting him as he built his farm and his reputation. Over the years, she had given birth to 3 children, all of whom had grown up and moved to distant villages to start families of their own. With time, Amina's body had changed. The once slender figure she had in her youth had filled out, and she had become heavier. But her heart remained as warm and as loving as ever. However, Maxi's perception of Amina began to shift. He no longer saw the woman who had stood by his side, helping him achieve his dreams. Instead, he saw someone who had become, in his eyes, unappealing and burdensome. He began to withdraw from her, spending more time at the marketplace or working in the fields, avoiding the comfort of their home. One fateful day, a young woman named Zai arrived in Begi to live with her aunt after the death of her parents. Zai was breathtakingly beautiful. Her skin was the color of rich mahogany, and her eyes sparkled like the stars in the night sky. She moved with the grace of a gazelle, and her laughter was like the tinkling of bells. Zai's arrival caused quite a stir in the village, and many of the young men tried to win her favor. But Zai was selective, brushing off their advances with ease. Maxi first saw Zai at the marketplace, where she stood out among the crowd like a rare flower in a field of grass. He was immediately captivated by her beauty, and a dangerous thought took root in his mind. What if Zai were my wife, he mused. His thoughts began to consume him, and he found himself daydreaming about a life with Zai, imagining how different things would be with a young and beautiful wife by his side. At home, Amina noticed Maxi's growing distance. She tried to rekindle the warmth in their relationship, cooking his favorite meals and preparing herbal teas to ease his fatigue. But Maxi's mind was elsewhere, focused on Zai. He became increasingly critical of Amina, making snide remarks about her weight and comparing her to younger women in the village. Amina, hurt and confused, began to withdraw into herself, wondering what she had done to lose Maxi's love. Despite the warnings from his closest friends and the village elders, Maxi decided to pursue Zai. They cautioned him, reminding him of Amina's loyalty and the years they had spent together. Maxi, do not forsake a good wife for the fleeting beauty of youth, they said. But Maxi was blinded by his desire. He convinced himself that Zai would bring him happiness and that Amina was holding him back. Maxi began his pursuit of Zai with a relentless determination. He showered her with gifts, brought her fresh fruits from his farm, then praised her beauty every chance he got. Zai, flattered by the attention of an older, successful man, entertained his advances. She enjoyed the gifts and the admiration but remained cautious, knowing that Mosi was a married man. One day, after weeks of persistent courting, Maxi confessed his love to Zai. He told her that he was willing to leave his wife for her, that she was the woman he truly desired. Zai, intrigued by the idea of being with a man of Maxi's stature and wealth, agreed to be with him, but only if he left Amina first. Maxi returned home that evening and, with a cold heart, told Amina that he was leaving her. I am no longer happy with you, Amina, he said. You have changed, and I need to live my life with someone who excites me, who makes me feel alive. Amina was devastated. She pleaded with him, reminding him of the years they had spent together, the hardships they had overcome, and the love they once shared. But Maxi's heart had hardened, and he walked out of their home, leaving Amina to fend for herself. Maxi moved in with Zai, building a small hut for them on the outskirts of the village, away from the eyes of the villagers who disapproved of his actions. At first, life with Zai was everything he had imagined. She was beautiful, vibrant, and full of life. Maxi felt rejuvenated, as if he had regained his youth. But as the days turned into weeks, cracks began to appear in their relationship. Zai was not interested in the responsibilities of running a household or working on the farm. She spent Maxi's money lavishly, buying expensive clothes and jewelry from traders who passed through the village. She demanded constant attention and grew irritated when Maxi spent too much time working in the fields. Maxi began to notice that Zai was not as nurturing or supportive as Amina had been. She cared little for his well-being and was quick to anger when things didn't go her way. Meanwhile, Amina struggled to survive on her own. She was heartbroken, but she refused to let Maxi's betrayal break her spirit. The villagers, seeing her plight, offered their support. They helped her with her farm, and the women in the village would often visit her, bringing food and comfort. Slowly, Amina began to rebuild her life. She started a small business selling handmade crafts, and with the help of the villagers, her farm began to thrive once again. As Maxi's relationship with Zai deteriorated, so did his life. His once prosperous farm began to fail, as Zai's constant demands left him with little time to tend to it properly. His health began to decline, and the stress of trying to please Zai while keeping up with his responsibilities took its toll. Zai, noticing Maxi's growing weakness and the decline of his wealth, began to lose interest in him. She started flirting with other men, particularly a wealthy trader who passed through the village regularly. One day, after a particularly heated argument with Maxi, Zai packed her belongings and left him for the trader. Maxi was left alone in the small hut, surrounded by the remnants of his once prosperous life. He had lost everything: his wife, his farm, his wealth, and his health. The villagers, who had once respected him, now saw him as a cautionary tale, a man who had thrown away everything for the fleeting pleasure of vanity. Maxi, broken and filled with regret, wandered back to the village. He went to the home he had once shared with Amina, hoping to find some semblance of comfort. But when he arrived, he found that Amina had moved on. The once humble home was now well kept and bustling with activity. Amina had transformed her life, turning her small business into a thriving enterprise. She was no longer the woman he had left behind. She had become strong, independent, and self-sufficient. Mosi, filled with remorse, fell to his knees in front of Amina, begging for her forgiveness. "Amina, I was a fool," he said, tears streaming down his face. "I threw away everything we had for a dream that was nothing but an illusion. I realize now how much I have hurt you, and I am sorry. Please, take me back." Amina looked at Maxi, and though she felt pity for him, she knew that she could not go back to the way things were. "Maxi," she said gently, "I forgave you a long time ago, but I cannot go back to the life we once had. I have found my own path, and I am happy. You must find yours." Maxi, though heartbroken, understood. He had made his choices, and now he had to live with the consequences. Amina's forgiveness was a small comfort, but it did little to ease the pain of his regrets. Maxi returned to his old farm, determined to rebuild what he had lost. It was a slow and painful process, but he worked tirelessly, driven by the memory of what he had once had and the lessons he had learned. Over time, the villagers began to accept him back into their fold, though the respect they once had for him was never fully restored. Maxi lived the rest of his life in quiet reflection, never forgetting the price he paid for his vanity. The story of Maxi and Amina became a tale passed down through generations in the village of Begi, a reminder of all of the dangers of vanity and the importance of appreciating the blessings one has before they are lost. The morals of the story serve as a timeless lesson on the consequences of forsaking true love for superficial desires. Reflect on the story and its lessons. Please value the people in your lives and resist the temptation of vanity and superficiality. Please don't forget to share this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment on your thoughts about the story. Thanks for watching.